We're in Spain at the moment. We've been riding two brand new motorcycles from BMW for 2020. We spent a couple of hours on some fantastic roads on the F900R and the F900XR. Now, these are two new middleweight motorcycles that will be coming to India later this year. So let's tell you a little bit more about what these motorcycles have to offer. Before we go any further, we should begin by saying that this was shot before the world fell flat on its face, and both bikes have just been launched in India. With that out of the way, let's talk about the motorcycles, starting with the naked F900R. The biggest thing this bike has going for itself is its angry and muscular design. The F900R looks like it's waiting to punch you in the face, and it looks far more aggressive than the F800R that it replaces. In fact, with its fat fuel tank and large side panels, the 900 looks more like a liter naked than the Triumph Street Triple or KTM 790 Duke rival that it actually is, and this will appeal to many big bike enthusiasts in India. Strangely, the rear section is quite bland in comparison with the rest of the bike, aside from that interesting looking exhaust. In terms of seating comfort, well, the R is more sporty than I expected, with a lean down to a flat handlebar and foot pegs that are fairly aggressively set as well. In comparison, the F900XR has none of the aggression and is a more flowing and handsome design to my eyes, although that tail section is just as drab as the 900R. The F900XR has a two-way adjustable windscreen and a 15.5 litre fuel tank, which holds 2.5 litres more than the naked bike. As for the seating position, the XR features a wonderfully comfortable riding position with decent wind protection and just a hint of sportiness thrown in. So the interesting thing is that the F900R and the XR are almost identical underneath, and apart from the visual changes you see here, better wind protection and a slightly different seating position, there isn't that much differentiating these two bikes, but they feel very different to ride. What remains common on both is the electronics package with 4 riding modes available in the top spec models. Both bikes also get a non-adjustable 43mm USD fork, which is rather underwhelming, but the new 900s are the first bikes in their segment to get an electronically adjustable rear shock. So how do they feel to ride? Let's start with the F900R. With a curb weight of 211 kg, this is a well-fed motorcycle that weighs over 20 kilos more than its European rivals, and this is something you clearly feel on the road. It's quite an old school riding experience in that the R is quite capable, but it's not exactly light and nimble on its feet, and you have to put some muscle into throwing it around. Once you get the hang of how it wants to be ridden, the F900R is quite a bit of fun, but I ultimately found myself much more impressed with the F900XR. This bike features about 170 mm of suspension travel on both ends, which is much higher than the R. In fact, those numbers are right up there with the F750 GS adventure bike. However, unlike the GS, the F900XR runs 17-inch rims at both ends, and it has the same steering rake angle as the F900R. With its extra suspension travel comes an increase in seat height, and where the naked bike has a reasonable 815 mm seat height, the XR seat is a bit higher at 825 mm. However, both bikes offer accessory seat options, and you even get suspension lowering kits, so this shouldn't be a major concern. Despite all that travel, the XR suspension is very well controlled, and you only feel significant dive under very hard braking, something both bikes do quite well. Nevertheless, even with its reduced cornering clearance, the XR could easily keep up with its naked sibling through some fast mountain roads. But once the fun was over and we had a long and cold highway ride back to the hotel, the XR proved to be a much more comfortable and enjoyable companion with a much plusher ride quality. This sort of multifaceted capability will work wonders in the Indian riding environment. And what should also work well on our roads is the new parallel twin engine. If you notice, the name is F900 and not F850 like the GS, and that's because this engine has been bored out. It makes a little more power, a little more torque, and it's identical on both motorcycles. This new engine displaces 895cc compared with the 853cc motor seen on the F850 and F750 models. The new motor now makes 105 horsepower, which is up from the 95 HP in the 850 and the 77 HP from the detuned engine in the F750. On Spain's winding roads, the 900's meaty mid-range was something to really appreciate, and the engine feels a little more smooth and flexible than the 850 engine, which was no slouch itself. Outright performance is quite good at normal speeds, but a mild vibration does creep in as you approach the top of the rev ceiling. As for the quick shifter, it's a typical BMW affair and it works well at high RPMs, but is clunky if you plan to use it at slow city speeds. What BMW is trying to offer here is a very premium experience, and both these bikes have some interesting features, many features that are first in the segment, although many of them are optional extras. Both F900s can be optioned with some great features if you're willing to tick a lot of boxes. We're talking about features like a tire pressure monitoring system, cruise control, a bi-directional quick shifter, and the electronically adjustable rear shock that we mentioned earlier. You can also option the Riding Modes Pro, which not only gives you 2 extra riding modes, but it also brings in more advanced safety features like cornering ABS, motor slip regulation, and BMW's dynamic traction control system. Internationally, the 900s can even be optioned with keyless ignition and cornering headlamps, but that's not available to Indian buyers. However, if you just stick with the standard models, you'll get LED lighting, 2 riding modes and a TFT display, in addition to the usual basic traction control and ABS safety features. Keeping the F900s relevant for the younger generation is BMW's connected app that lets you analyze a huge amount of ride data, including maximum lean angles, maximum speed achieved at any point on the route, and even when you trigger the ABS. This is the most comprehensive app I've ever used from a manufacturer, and thankfully, this one comes for free. Now, the R is an interesting product, but it's quite traditional. The XR, on the other hand, I think this bike has a lot of potential for our market, and I can't wait to see what it's like on our roads. With a badge like that, it's no surprise that the F900s are not cheap motorcycles, but there's also the fact that both come in as CBUs all the way from Berlin. The F900R has just been launched at Rs 9.9 lakhs ex-showroom, and it only comes in a standard variant with a TFT display, 2 riding modes and basic traction control and ABS systems. At this price, it will face serious competition from the likes of the soon-to-be launched Triumph RRR, as well as BS6 versions of KTM's 790 Duke and the Ducati Monster 821. That being said, this is now the most affordable big BMW in India, and to some riders, that's all that will matter. The F900 XR meanwhile has been priced at Rs 10.5 lakhs for the standard version and 11.5 lakhs for the Pro variant. With the Pro model, you get the electronic rear shock, bi-directional quick shifter and cruise control. However, the other features we've mentioned earlier are still options that you need to pay extra for. At this price, the 900 XR ventures into the territory of machines like the Kawasaki Versys 1000, which is much faster but also significantly bigger and heavier. To sum up, if you want a fast, comfortable and capable motorcycle, but you don't like the idea of an adventure bike, the F900 XR could be just what you're looking for.